What up, what up, what up, what up? It's me, L Teddy 27.
What's good? It's night right about the hood.
Oh, dear God, I'm already eating and drinking.
Look a damn mess. Just a damn mess. No means no, and yes means no. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's good, people? What's up, what's up, what's up? It's me, L Teddy 27, and I am back for yet another review. This, ladies and gentlemen, will be our review for Kandi The Gang. It is season 1. This is episode 4. I don't know what the title is. It'll be somewhere around me somewhere. You can read it yourself. That's the title. Anyway, so let's get right down to it. This episode for me, it was okay. It wasn't all that. It was just like, it was a filler. So let's get right down to it. We start off with Kandi and Todd. Kandi is telling Todd all about the conversation she had with Patrick, where Patrick told her that the people at the restaurant had a whole lot of complaints and a whole lot of stuff to say to him, but they weren't saying it to her and to Kandi and Todd. So they were like, we're going to have this town hall meeting or staff meeting where they can air out their grievances or whatever their situation is. Back down to the restaurant, we see Chandrika. She's trying to put in some real work. She's trying to work this time. So she, serving plates or whatever and trying to put in some real work. Brandon says, you can do all that you want to, but that ain't going to impress Philip. Anyway, Patrick brings his girlfriend Safari by the restaurant. Chandrika is immediately bothered by her presence there. Immediately bothered. But she claims that, well, Patrick says she just wants some cornbread and something to drink because she's vegan. But last time I checked, being vegan, you can't eat dairy because you're not supposed to eat anything from animals. And last time we checked, dairy does come from animals. And the cornbread recipe calls for a lot of dairy. Make it make sense. But okay, I mean, you could be vegetarian, but that ain't vegan, hey? Anyway, um, Brandon goes over to Safari and Patrick and invites them over to his birthday dinner. Then Patrick had this weird conversation about, oh, I was glad when Brandon came to work here because we're the only two straight guys here. And I used to get all the attention from the ladies since I was the only straight guy until he came. Isn't Melvin straight? Or maybe he's not. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, it just, it, it seemed, mm, I'm trying to really put into words how I'm feeling like I just didn't like that whole dynamic and that whole conversation of him continuing to mention that child, him and Brandon was the only two straight men there. He whatever. I'm gonna keep going. Moving on. Torin comes over and Patrick introduces Safari to Torin. There he goes. Well, you're fired. You're fired. We do not want you as an interior decorator no more because my girlfriend said she got it, and she was looking at him like problem, and he was looking at her like okay, and walks off. Tora was not happy. Tora immediately goes over there to everybody else and be like, this whore just fired me. Talk about Patrick also told Tora that it was no longer gonna be a housewarming party because Safari said she ain't here for it and everybody don't need to know where he stayed. But in my mind, I'm like, he stays right behind the restaurant. Like I think everybody kind of knows where the fuck he stays. It's right behind the fucking restaurant. We can spit on his goddamn window. But I guess. Anyway, because that just didn't make sense to me. But Torrin is not happy, and Torrin is like, "Oh, I can't." He doesn't like, and I think that happens a lot where you have people who don't like when somebody else is introduced into the picture, and it kind of makes them change and alter how they normally would go about doing things or whatever. That happens a lot. Anyway, Torrin went over there and just told everybody how he felt. Dominique is talking to Brandon, and he's telling her about the birthday dinner. She's like, "I ain't going." I ain't ready for all that yet. I am not going. And in my mind, I was like, well, a birthday dinner, if you're thinking about talking to somebody or being interested in somebody, that should be the place that you go. And, that's one of the events that you want to go to. But that's just my thinking. Anyway, she says she's trying to take it slow and she don't know if she's ready for all that, this, that, and the third. I was like, I guess. Kandi and Todd come to the restaurant to get ready for this town hall meeting or whatever. And they say Philip wasn't invited because they wanted the people to be able to just say how they feel without having him over there, you know, over there. So then they cut away to Philip at his house with his BFF, um, Andre. And I mean, they give me the bougie girls in the club that sit over in the back. I know what that is because I've been accused of being a bougie girl. And I'm not a bougie girl, I'm just an elitist girl. There's a difference. There's bougie girls and then there's us elitist girls. And there's a very clear difference. They give it the bougie girls, me and my girls are the elitist girls. And there's a difference. You know, they got their corner, we got our corner. But yeah, that's what that was. Anyway, back down to the town hall, people airing out stuff. I loved how Melvin started off and said, "Listen, I don't have no problem with Philip. I think Philip's great. I think he'll be great for this place, and I think that he'll, really give this place another, culture that it needs." Torrin then was ready to pounce. I don't like him, and Torrin went, and I love how Don Juan came right on in and said, "Well, Torrin, just like you said, he give off a lot. Bitch, you give off a lot too." You do the most too. So don't try to act like he the only one that be doing the most. Girl, you do the most and some. I was here for Don Juan on that because Don Juan had to check him like, girl, get off your high horse. Girl. Because he was like, I just loved how Don Juan handled him right there. Because you do be trying to act like he's more important than he is. Girl, sit down somewhere. Sit down somewhere, Miss Torrin, honey. Anyway, um, so then Patrick took this moment because they was asking anybody else got something to say, and Patrick and Chandrika once said, "Now, baby, Patrick took this moment to air Chandrika out. Do you hear me, baby? He laid her out. Baby, be like Chandrika said dot 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 dot. Chandrika said dot 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 dot, and Chandrika said dot 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 dot. You ain't said it now, Chandrika. Where you at now? I don't hear you saying it now. You said to me, girl. She was looking at like she was like, is this bitch really just airing me out like that? He did, honey. Aired her all the way out. Anyway, so this other employee started talking about who wipes the menus or something, and Chandrika immediately was like, girl, shut up. She was like, girl, shut up. Nobody want to hear you. And what you got going on? Wiping some damn menus or whatever. And Katie was like, come on now, you can't be rude to people like that. And she was kind of rude, but the way she was like, girl, shut up. Girl, I'm best. So Candy, after all of this back and forth or whatever, Candy said, "Listen, we're gonna have a team building event where everybody in the restaurant, so we can do what we can to try to build, the build the relationships between each other and get to a better working environment." So at the end, they started talking about Brandon, and so Brandon has this, you know, just these delusions about who he is and what he is, about how great of a manager. You can ask anybody how great of a manager I am. Girl, sit down somewhere, Brandon, because you are nobody's great. Baby, Mama Joyce came right out and said, "Boo, it was I asked you to help me in the kitchen one time, and you went and sat in the office and did nothing." Aunt Bertha was like, "The first time I came here, I spoke to him and he ain't speak back. And I said it would be a cold day in hell before I speak to him again." Baby, he went over there to try to hug Aunt Bertha and say, "I apologize." Baby, she gave one of them, "Bitch, get away from me. Goodbye. I told you I don't like you. Bitch, go on somewhere. I am too old to be trying to apologize and accept apologies. Girl, keep it moving." Aunt Bertha gives me one more good Capricorn. I don't know if she is, but she gives me Capricorn energy. Because that's how we are. Like, girl, I told you I don't like you. Please don't come over here trying to apologize because I already told you once. Save it, honey. I was here for it, Aunt Bertha. I was here for it. Anyway, so it kind of ended there. So then we see Torin goes outside the next day or a couple days later or whenever it was to talk to Patrick about the whole being fired situation. And Patrick eventually apologized, said, "Listen, I know I'm whipped. I know she, got me all whipped and stuff, but I apologize. That's just what she wanted." So Patrick Torin is like, "Well, you should still have your housewarming party." And so when Torin leaves, Patrick tries to call Safari about this housewarming get together. Baby, when she barked at him like he was her 3-year old child and she was reprimanding him, I was like, "Oh, girl, Patrick, girl, baby." Like he literally hung up that phone like his mama had just went off on him. Girl, I was like, "Ooh." Anyway, we then see Patrick go home, and then he asks after work, and he asks Safari, "Listen, what do I need to do? What mountains do I need to move to try and get you to agree to this housewarming?" He was like, "Okay, let's come on, let's just make a list of the people. That's a definite yes, that's a no, and then get the fuck out of here." So at first she was saying, "Yeah, all these people they got a Torah." Girl, it's a no. He already brought up to you that he don't like that I fired him, and I don't need that kind of drama at the party. I don't want to go back and forth with him. Girl, I know in her mind she was like, "Listen, I ain't got time for this punk and all he got going on." Girl, mm-mm. It'll be enough estrogen in the room already. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So he says, okay, how about so even after the list, she was like, it's still a no. So he was like, how about when we go to Brandon's birthday event? Why don't we, see how you feel there and see if you can we could try and do it there. She said, all right. Now I noticed because the next thing, oh no, next part was we was at Rashad's house. No, I'm sorry, at Brian's house. So Brian goes is at home. Rashad comes over. So they making egg rolls and shit and talking about the restaurant and everything and talking about the management and how incompetent they are. And Brian said, listen, I haven't really called Candy about coming back yet because I'm okay. My business is booming with my egg rolls, and my ultimate goal is to get me a food truck or whatever. Everything seems to be going good. I'm having a good time with what I'm doing with my own personal stuff. Now, in my mind, I was like, is these two whores bumping purses? Like I was wondering. I mean, based on the dating record we know of Brian thus far, we see that he kind of likes the film girls. Like we see that he likes to bump pussies and bump purses or whatever. And so I don't know. Did anybody else get that vibe? Like they over here bumping purses and bumping pussies or whatever, scissoring or whatever they're doing between Brian and Richard. I don't know. Hey, y'all let me know in the comment section because I was like, now you already dated this woman in Torin. It makes sense if you date another woman in Rishardo, but girl, I guess if you like it, I love it. If it's good for you, it's great for me, honey. Anyway, back down to the restaurant. Brandon and Philip are talking. Brandon invites Philip to the birthday dinner, and Philip accepts the invitation. But I noticed he wasn't there. I noticed a lot of people weren't at that birthday dinner. We'll get there in a second. Candy and Todd come through. Don Juan pulls them outside, and Don Juan shows them this video. Because it's their restaurant, so they got cameras everywhere. So he had pulled the camera, and baby, Brandon had Chandrika on the phone, on speakerphone, and she was going the fuck in on Candy and Todd, saying that they don't give a fuck and they ain't shit, and this restaurant ain't shit. Girl, she was going off for the old and the new, cause the bitch ain't shit. And why would you think it would be okay for you to be on the phone with your boss, your manager, going in on the owners? I mean, just horrible decision making. Like I don't understand Chandrika, but it ain't for me to understand, honey. Anyway, so after that, they still debating and going back and forth on whether or not to keep her there or to fire her. This is the problem. Y'all don't know when to pull the trigger and say enough is enough. Enough should have been enough a long time ago because from what I understand, they have all kind of horrible Yelp reviews and stuff like that simply because of her. That should have been enough a long time ago. But y'all continue to string these people along thinking that it's going to get better when you're keeping the problem there. Girl, that should have been immediately. Girl, come talk to me. Thank you for your services. You see this video right here, sweetheart? Yeah, because we are owners of a business and we have to have cameras everywhere in our business. And we found this. Boo, anything to say? I thought not. Thank you for your services. Your job is you're no longer needed here. I'm sorry. There's nothing we could do for you. Anyway, down to Brandon's birthday dinner. His family and stuff is there. We learned some of his backstory about him. His parents being from Jamaica, they moved to New York, and then they migrated down to Atlanta. A lot of his family is in Atlanta now. So Patrick and Safari come, and then Dominique comes with Torin. She comes, she brings a gift, even though she told him she wasn't going to come. She did come. She brought a nice little flower thing or whatever. He's all excited. But I just felt like it was just moving too fast for me. Like his daddy said, "Oh, you're gonna change your last name to Black." Like they talk about changing last names, and you introducing me to your parents privately, kind of like to formally say, when you introduce me to your mom and dad in that manner, it makes me feel like you trying to say I'm officially yours. And if you really trying to take it slow, like you said, Dominic, you should immediately halt it and put the brakes on and say, "Yeah, I ain't ready for all this yet." But I guess, honey, you like it, I love it. Torin ends up talking to Safari, and Patrick kind of went away to let them talk. And they talked it out, and Safari seemed to be, not feeling as bad about Torin as she was, but Torin was just trying to say what he had to say to get her to let him come to this party or whatever. Mama, girl, Mama had on this turban in this confessional. Girl, Torin, girl. Now you might be able to decorate houses, but clothing is not your thing, dear one. Because that turban or that whatever you had on your head, girl. Anyway, um, Todd and so that was the whole birthday dinner. But like I said, I noticed those were the only four people who I saw from the restaurant that were there. Philip said he was coming, but he didn't come. Nobody else was invited. I I don't. It ain't my business, but I didn't see nobody else from the restaurant there. I guess. Anyway, maybe he didn't want everybody. Well, I can't say maybe he didn't want everybody to know about Dominique because he thought Dominique wasn't coming. But I guess. So the last thing we saw was Candy and Todd came to the restaurant. They needed to meet up with Chandrika and get this situation over with. So Chandrika says, "Listen." They tell her they decided that they weren't going to tell her that they saw it on the video. So Chandrika says, well, in her confessional, she said, I ain't say that. I ain't say that. I don't give a fuck. I don't think, girl, they have receipts. They got the video. They have the receipts. Get over it. But she seems more bothered that somebody snitched on her than the fact that she actually said it. Like, she doesn't seem apologetic or contrite. She don't even really seem like she did anything wrong. She just mad and just her whole goal at this point is to find out who snitched and who told what she said. She still feel how she feels, which goes back to my point in the beginning. Fire her ass. Why the fuck is she still here? But whatever. It goes off from there. Listen, it's a trickle down effect. Poor decision making from the owners trickles down to poor management, trickles down to the employees not being shit. It is what it is. That was the whole episode, y'all. Y'all get in the comment section and let me know what y'all think, because maybe I saw stuff totally wrong and y'all might see it different from me. I don't know. That's all I got for y'all. Until next week, that's all I got. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.